Okay, gentlemen, it's your last chance to back out before becoming infamous on YouTube as not knowing what you're talking about. So, death of a mosquito in 3, 2, 1. All right, everybody, welcome out to our third cast of Airsoft Table Talk. We'll do our normal introductions, go around the table. Josh Fuerst Fire Industries.
I'm Frank Scharnell. A lot of guys know me as Quad in the Colorado scene. I have been to a number of national ops. Very, very active player in the Colorado community, hosted a lot, and was part of the Geistkriegers.
I'm Neil Santos. I'm with Shadowpack. I play under Abacus, and I'm a recovering Airsofter.
AA meeting. My name is Ross Kortgardner. I've been playing.
You can't even say his last name.
See, now you got me going. Kortgardner. I run JPEG Airsoft, and I've been playing Airsoft for 2 years. Thanks, Frank. And I've been doing kind of like Milsim scenario paintball for 16 years, so it's kind of a new experience to me. So.
Awesome. Well, thanks for making it out here, rearranging your schedules. We always appreciate it. Have a couple topics to talk about this evening. First one, we're going to start off defining our perceptions of what do you consider a sport?
I guess I will start with that one. I consider a sport a competitive activity where you can normally define a winner and a loser. I think that there's a couple different types of sports. There doesn't necessarily have to be a point system per se, but there has to be some way of defining a winner and a loser. Fencing, I know there is a point system, but like if you get your ass beat, then you get your butt kicked.
Do you know how much like one of those little sensor bleeps costs us? I
know, right? It was a rough day at work. Okay.
Think of the sponsors.
Think of the sponsors. So a sporting event is typically something that's won or lost by the opponents, and there's both individual and team sports, I believe. And I mean, it breaks down a lot farther than that, but at the core, it's having a commitment to win and be competitive.
I'd accept all of that stuff, pretty much. I would kind of put a finer point on it in that a sport has to have a definitively within its structure a winner or a loser. It can't be graded. It can't be judged. It can't be up to the individual discretion of the participants. It's an absolute exterior imposition of rules upon the participants.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree with both of you guys. I mean, the way I look at a sport is if I'm getting mentally prepared for it, classroom work, physical stuff, like working out, running, so on and so forth. Just really evaluating, team practice and stuff. That's what, I really consider like what a sport activity would be.
Okay, so you've defined sports, but as a society, that's kind of gotten skewed because in many competitive sports, baseball, soccer, football, hockey, we don't always have a definitive winner and loser. You got to make everyone happy, so everyone's got to pat themselves on the back and walk away.
Do you?
Everyone feeling like a winner. Well, I mean that's how it goes a lot of times these days.
Because I'm not big on traditional sports. I don't do a lot of team sports. The sport I did when I was growing up was fencing. So it's an individual sport, individual achievement, and there's a winner and there's a loser. Mm-hmm. And I kind of thought baseball and football and hockey and stuff. I mean, you could tie.
There's a definitive loser.
But don't
all of those
don't you have winners and losers in this?
You do, but it's just how the culture of our society has become. It's like everyone gets a rhythm, everyone wins.
Now, are we talking like a professional level, or are we talking like non-professional level? I mean, if we're talking like high school,
that's a whole other topic. Talking about professional airsoft,
about levels and recreational play versus sport, and the goal is there a winner and a loser of the game, not of oh man we did so good after our softball league. No, you don't get your beer because you win or you lost. You get it because you participated. Participation's completely different from winning and losing.
Okay, so there's no winning and losing in Milsim if they're participants.
I don't think there's a winning and losing in Milsim for the most part.
Well, because I
actually tend to agree with Neil on this because in most cases, most, hosting organizations try to tailor it for an experience, not necessarily for a winner and a loser, but for both sides to have their opportunities to be on top.
So when hosting organizations get further and further away from control points, capture the flag, the amount of time that you've held a certain point, I've even seen games based off of enemy elimination. You know, one side has per objective 1 life. The assaulting team has so many, has infinite respawns, and how many times they have to hit that clicker, you know, to get back into the game. You know, I've seen point systems based off of that.
Right. I like to think of it more as how society's evolved in school, where the teachers can't use red markers anymore because it's too harsh. So even though you might not get a good grade,
So when you see that
it's
D or an
softened.
F, you know, in red, it's
Yeah.
like, I'm scarred for life.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of
Did they used to use red markers?
yeah. They used to use red
got
markers,
them.
and now you're not. It's discouraged to use
serious?
red markers in schools. Yeah, some places actually mandate it that you cannot use red markers at all. But that's kind of the way that I view a lot of the hosting is, even though there are times when there is a definitive winner and a loser, the perspective is softened as to who that is, so that everyone has a feel-good feeling. Maybe they'll put a star on it and be like, "Good work next time."
Scratch and stitch.
I think I think that definitely exists. I mean, I've seen it, and I know most of us here at this table have been at games that do that.
Right.
Some of us here at this table have also been at games where you don't necessarily have a definitive winner or loser, but you can still come away from the game feeling satisfied.
Right.
And I think that's kind of one of the differences that I think so. That's where the confusion is that too many hosts are trying to make people happy when the actual secret is to make them satisfied.
Yeah.
Make people happy, and they develop senses of entitlement, and there's nothing really for them to accomplish. But if you throw something in front of them that they have to trip over enough time, or something that kicks them in the stomach or whatever, and they overcome this, whatever it is, they feel satisfied with it,
Right.
and they go, "Wow, we lost, but we lost good," or we really got something out of it. It really showed us where the holes in our own internal training program is. I've heard guys talk about that on the notes to this show, actually.
Right.
Is that they may have got their heads handed to them, but in doing so they go, "Oh well, now we can train for this and this and this, and we're not going to fall for that gig again."
Right. No, I completely agree, and I think that kind of borders almost an individual sport where you have to feel accomplished individually because everyone kind of has those challenges to overcome, especially in airsoft. Whether it's gear or gun or the objective. Maybe you're not a runner, but it's a running
fitness level,
objective.
right.
And there's a lot of other things that play into being able to accomplish those challenges. And you're totally right. Like, people have to work towards that satisfied feeling versus winning.
And that's one of the kind of the cool things about airsoft, actually, is that
Ross, chime in at any time.
Oh, yeah.
I hear crickets over here.
I'm just thinking what he was saying.
Can't kick me under the table. So
No, the satisfaction. I mean, sometimes I know as some players, like, they don't care if they got any of the objectives, that they just got their 2 kills for the day, and that's all they
Yeah.
care about. They don't care about anything else.
So it's multi-layered. So obviously you're talking about a sport, and then obviously you have all your different definitions. So you have team sports and individual sports. You have individual sports like golf, where it's totally on the player. It's, it's an honor-based system. You have to track, your. I'm not that familiar with golf, but your strokes,
yeah.
par, so on and so forth.
if it doesn't have like a gigantic Tyrannosaurus Rex and a windmill, I really don't know anything about golf.
Well, putt.
There's no driving range at those, so I don't do very well.
In other arenas, chess is considered a sport.
I'm not quite so sure about that one. I just
Okay, well,
I think
go.
it's a game rather than a sport.
Well, when I talk about airsoft,
competition.
I always like to use the
There
label
absolutely
game
is,
because
yeah.
it's so varied. I use
Right.
game. I
Yeah.
enjoy the game. I'm going to the game. I'm going to play the game.
Yeah, me too, actually.
So chess is taken very seriously as a competitive sport.
It is absolutely very
Battle
serious.
of the wits.
It is absolutely competitive. I just never really considered it as a sport, and I don't really have an answer for why.
You picked on the kids in the chess club in high school, didn't you?
Oh, I play chess.
and feel self-esteem.
But and a lot of times that's a sticking point for a lot of guys. It's like, no, I put all this work to play with my team. I am absolutely not going to break up.